Afternoon everybody. As the sun has finally come out after what's been quite a miserable day from a weather perspective, I thought I would, I haven't done a video for a while, so I thought I would show you a bit of progress around the garden, what we've been up to. I'm bringing you through the back way, which is not the way we'd normally come into the garden, but I wanted to show you some of the pots, because if you watched a previous video that I'd done, I was talking about trying to go for pots in quite a big way. I'm quite pleased with the way that some of them are coming on, particularly some of these bigger pots here that we've planted up. You see this one here, this is looking pretty good, and then this one as well. So I'm pretty pleased with the way the pots are shaping up. They certainly add quite a bit of colour to this courtyard area, which is nice. And the jasmine is just going over now, but that's just been stunning. Climbing up the side of the house here, fantastic scent. And so yeah, so this is the courtyard area. So this is kind of our outdoor dining space, a little bit quirky. We've attached an old reclaimed fireplace, a mock fireplace to the wall here to create that sort of inside outside dining space. This originally, this whole area was a raised sort of rockery pond that we dug out and have put in this kind of timber retaining wall with lavender and sweet woodruff running all the way down. Lavender's just about to come out, so that should be covered in bees and butterflies later on in the year. This area here, say hello to Basil. Oh, that's my fault, trying to use the gimbal. This is our sort of breakfast area, if you like, because about the only time of the day that this actually catches the sun is first thing in the morning underneath the fig tree. Perfect place for a bit of breakfast. And then we head up to the lawn and the lawn borders. And if you ignore the state of the lawn, which is a combination of the dog and very, very poor drainage, we're on very heavy clay soil, and it's actually looking a bit more lush. It's the rain we've had the last few days is helping. It was very brown a few days ago, but the borders are looking great. So you see the Nepeta that we planted a year or so ago, it's really taken off this year, and we've got a fantastic show of lupins. They've been great. The lupins and the roses this year have absolutely loved it. And look at that, what a beast, the cardoon, absolutely enormous. It's up to the height of the yew trees. So we're talking 7-8 foot. That was grown from, not quite from seed, it was grown from a plug. You can just see at the very top the thistle flower just starting to come through there. There's a couple of spikes. So this border's looking really good. Possibly a little bit too much purple and white, because if you look at this other side, there's a lot more kind of pinks, and so I need to balance this up a little bit. I'm planning in the autumn to move a couple of these Nepetas over to the other side. But I also need to do some work on the soil, because, and this shows you actually how important it is to put work into your soil, because this is more or less a brand new bed in the grand scheme of things. It's only just over a year old. So this has been created with brand new topsoils, had a lot of organic matter added to it, a lot of drainage, so you can see the Nepetas on this side are loving it. This exact same plant planted at the exact same time on the side where we've done little to no work on the soil, and I'd imagine the previous owners didn't either, is just there, tiny little thing. So struggling, I think. So yeah, I think a lot of work needed to be done to the soil. In the autumn time we'll start to rejuvenate the soil. I've got quite a lot of garden compost on the go down at the compost heaps at the end of the garden, so we can start to sort that out hopefully. The roses have been absolutely fantastic, as I said. The scent sat on this bench here, you'll have to take my word for it, but is absolutely sublime. And if you look at the standard rose here again, you need a step ladder to deadhead this. It's a good 8-9 foot tall. And then just by the bench, this geranium Roseanne. And our two little hogs. Oh, sorry, that's me again. Hope you're not getting motion sickness watching this. Our two little hogs on the floor. Hello, Baz. Hey, boy, come say hello. Here he is. So yeah, so these borders are looking great. We had some wind damage when we had the strong winds a few days ago. No, a couple of weeks ago now. We had a hazel, a very large hazel, which was screening that house over there, that we had to take down. And I'll talk you through the plans for that area of the garden, which is a work in progress at the moment. But you have to adapt as a gardener and create an opportunity where there is one. So it created a lot of hazel sticks, so I started to create some wigwams around the garden. I planted a few new clematis, trying to train them around this wigwam here. One of them isn't doing so well. I don't know if it's got wilt or whether I accidentally trod on it, which is also quite possible while I was planting it. You don't hear Monty Don say that very often, do you? But I might well have trodden on the clematis. Yeah, so this is more sort of shady, sort of woodland border. The fountain here as we head through into what we call the spinney. We've had lots of much more elaborate names for this area of the garden, but we just end up keep referring it to the spinney, so I think the name has stuck. This is one of the first structures I built when we moved into the house. I think I mentioned it in a previous video. I've now planted a honeysuckle on the other side that I'm hoping will completely grow over the top of this and make it look like that is a sort of wall that runs all the way across, so it creates a sort of false end to the garden, if you like. This is lovely in the evening because it all lights up. We've got all the fairy lights around it, so a little bit of a hidden grotto. Also great as an outdoor office because we've got some outdoor plug sockets here, and for some bizarre reason I get fantastic Wi-Fi here, which I don't even get in some parts of the house. Very bizarre, but a nice place when it's been hot over the last few weeks to use as your office. This is a big wood pile, a couple of fatsias and some hostas and ferns. It's incredibly dry shade here, so the hostas do struggle a little bit. Sorry, that's me again. Planted a magnolia and an acer in here. We've just tried to thin out the canopy a little bit this year so that there is a little bit light reaches the ground, so some of these things can take hold. And then coming through to the pond area. So this is the pond here. If you can see it, I'm not very good with this thing. I'll be able to see it if I go through here. Look. There we go. So that's the pond. And then we've got a patio seating area right next to it, which is a great place to sit and watch and listen to the frogs. When we've got the cushions out, it's really nice there. And this is a really old, we've got a few apple trees in the garden. This is a very old apple tree. As you see, it's completely collapsed over, but still produces cooking apples every year. Got a good crop last year, and there's eaters in this big apple tree behind us. And you have to wade through the steeper gigantea as you come through here and get through to what we ambitiously call the Mediterranean garden. So it's planted up with lavender and sage and some other herbs just on the edge of the seating area here. And then this is what we call the hotbeds. So it's hard to imagine at the moment, but just as the lawn borders that you just saw with all the roses and geraniums and the lupins go over, this starts to really take off. So this is Persicaria, Rudbeckia, Heleniums. So this goes bright red, yellow, purples. There's another clematis wigwam at the back there, if you can see, and a lovely Indian bean tree, which is doing really well this year. Sometimes it struggles a little bit in the heat, but it seems to be doing well this year. And the blonde bombshell wife, named after my wife, that's what I was going to say. Blonde bombshell rose. You see a flush of pink as they start to go over, so that came from the old house, so that's got a bit of a sentimental value, that one. And then check out this. Isn't he stunning? Our owl sculpture. Clearly not very threatening because the robins like to perch on his head and poo on him. But we think he looks great, and he catches the last of the evening sun as it goes over the wall behind us, which always looks pretty stunning. So that's a bit of a walkthrough. I'll take you around to the other side where we have some plans going on. It really doesn't look much at the moment. It was the spring garden, which was the sort of the place to be in the spring. So there's a little brick path here. So if we head out the woodland garden, the spinney this way, this was the spring garden all the way through here. So this is full of daffodils and snowdrops and other bulbs in sort of March, February time. But at the moment it's all sort of gone over and gone to seed. It needs a bit of a weed and a clear out, but that's partly because it's a nice seating. And there's a crab apple here, right, that sort of comes over the bench. So it's a really nice place to sit when the crab apple and the apple blossom is out. See some of the apples forming here. There you go. You can also hear one of our chickens scrabbling around up that under there. I don't know if you can see her. She's very noisy. She likes to wake us up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, you can't see her, I don't think. She's hidden away under there somewhere. We'll say hello to them another time. So this is a nice sort of woodland glade path that runs back towards the lawn here, but I've got plans to do something with this. I'm not quite sure what yet. I'm going to plant, this is where that big hazel I was talking about had to come down. And you've got a nice smoke bush coming through here and a viburnum in there, and this enormous mock orange, which smells to high heaven. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a nice smell, but it certainly smells very strong. So I don't know, I'm potentially thinking about a shade mix for a wildflower meadow, walk through here and mow a path through it as a possibility. So I'll have to keep you posted on what I decide to do with this bit, and if you've got any ideas what I should do with this area, post below. I'm more than happy to take suggestions. And this is another mock orange, which again is very, very strongly scented. This was here when we arrived. Very mature shrub, this one, but real kick of scent, particularly in the evening. Another little seating area. My son and I actually made this bench. We salvaged the end pieces and then created the wood struts. And then back to the lawn borders. You'll get a good view of the Paulownia tomentosa tree, which is coming into its own at the moment. So that's a little bit of a tour, a bit of background what I've been up to, and I will try and do another video again in the next week or so, and show you some of the stuff that we've got planned. And obviously as the hot borders start to come into full flow, as we get into midsummer, then I'll take you on another tour so you can see how the garden changes through the seasons. Hope you have a great day, get some time in the garden, and I will see you soon.